Hi, hello, welcome back. My name is Cooper. I'm your favorite painting teacher, and we're back in the studio for a second installment of me painting my dolls for content / showing you how I make a painting. So let's get started and go to the suitcase. Okay, now let's figure out who to highlight this week. I've got this person with a bat. And, oh, where's my rugby guy? I've got this rugby guy. And he has his own little hat, too. It's quite good. So maybe we'll do something with these two. Yeah. But maybe one more thing. Maybe, well, we have to decide what we have room for. He's got these arms up like this. I feel like he could be holding someone. Ooh. This feels heated. Although 3 characters at this scale, I don't know if we have the room. Right? I mean, I like it. Should we do it? Okay, we'll do it. So take a screenshot of that, and then we're going to get going. Okay, let's get started. So the colors that we're going to be using are the same as last time, and those are going to flash at the bottom of the screen. And I would love for you to join me. And again, if you would like to make your own painting based on what we're doing here and email it to me so I can feature it on the show, I would love to receive that from you. The email you can email that to is coopersalmonart@gmail.com. So with that said, let's begin. So as we know, the rule of thumb that we work with acrylic painting is back to front, big brushes to little brushes, and then highlights and lowlights last. So I forgot for a moment what it looked like. Whoo! So let's begin. I'm looking at my composition, and again, we're gonna put in the background. And I think let's depart radically from what's actually there this episode, and we're just gonna block in a bright blue skyline. And I think that will really change the vibe of these emotionally charged scenes that are developing based on our placement. So, palette knife, I'm going to mix my initial colors. Generally, when we're mixing paint on our palette, you always want to use a palette knife because your brushes just don't mix it as well, and then you get individual colors stuck in the brush. Although with Alla Prima, you're painting on the canvas, which we will do once we start doing wet into wet, but our base coat is going to be this nice sky blue, although it's a little darker than sky blue. And with acrylic paint, it always dries one shade darker, so that's something to keep in mind. Okay, so as you can hear, I've got this pretty well mixed. And my favorite tool for an initial layer of paint is actually a sponge. It just spreads the paint around really well, really quickly. So let me wet my tools. Okay, so I've got my wet sponge, lathered in blue paint. And now for the fun part. Just lay it on there. Oh. Well, that's on me. Too much gusto. And in fact, now that this has happened, I'm realizing this is actually kind of dangerous to do with the dolls so close. So I'll have to be careful. So if I get paint on the dolls, these dolls are from like the 50s or something. Like they are old. So I want to make sure that I can preserve them as long as I can. If I were a better person, I would take them to a museum, but I promised my mom I wouldn't get rid of them because I pried them from her hands in order to get them. She was loath to be parted from them. Okay, well, it's only a proper paint day if you get paint on yourself, so we are inaugurated. Okay, so see how that spreads? See how quickly we've just laid down a base layer? And we do this to make sure that we get all the white off the canvas. We don't want our highlights to be competing with the raw white of the canvas because they're at the full extreme of the color spectrum when it's just raw white. Okay. So I'm just gonna do one more light pass to kind of make sure I get any of these marks off there. Most of it will be covered with the characters that we're gonna lay in, but I want to set ourselves up for success. Oh dear, we've got this shadow of the canvas again, but so we can either lay in another layer or let's leave it. Okay, so I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm thinking we're gonna put in the figure on the left first completely because there's nothing behind it and there's an arm in front of it for my other two characters. So let's just do that one first. Now we're gonna start by blocking it in with basic colors. I'm gonna go with, where's my magenta? You know, in the art world, we call it magenta. Just kidding, we don't do that. One time I was in a class and somebody called it gesso instead of gesso and the teacher yelled at them. That was an undergrad, it was very funny. Anyways, so I'm making a light pink for this face. And I'm gonna take my rag, which used to be a pair of pants, and I'm gonna use that to pull the paint off my palette knife. And then I'm gonna mix this real quick, not being too precious, because the point of this is to have fun and to practice. The more we practice, the better we get at painting. So, let's take one of these. Oh, I could do some great ASMR with these, but we're not gonna, because that's not what this is about. Okay, ready? So, looking, and I'm looking, there's like a very prominent cleft chin here. So let's do something like this, and then just another swish. And we'll call that good. And then I want to block in the whole body before I do the arms. So it's this very light tan color. So I'm just going to take my raw Sienna Yellow and add some white to it. And so I'm going to do a little bit of this and mostly white. And then we'll just lay in the whole outfit. I say a little bit, and then I accidentally just poured like an eyeball's worth, which is way too much, but okay. Okay. I need more white paint, clearly. Too many sound effects happening. Okay, same deal. Pull the paint off. Scrape that around. And then let's lay it in there. Oh, a different brush than the pink. I'll come back to the pink, but switch brushes. Loaded up brush. I'm looking one more time. So I'm looking. And basic shapes, there's like the folded arms is kind of a circle, and then, okay. So, yeah, I'm just kind of like, it's kind of this like, yeah, let's say there. We'll figure that out. And then pants, one, and then we lay in the pressure of our brush. So we do big pressure here for a thigh and then less pressure. And I can approximate the form of a body. I'm not trying to be too precise. Look at that. What is that nonsense in the middle? Should we leave it? Let's see if we can get away with leaving that. It's ridiculous, but let's see. And then I do have this color over here. Sure, let's also just lay in this shirt while we're here, or this other figure. Okay, so now that's coat one. Now the next thing I want to do is, let's build up the face, and then we're going to do the outfit and the arms. Okay, so yes, I think we're going to work top down. We're going to do the face. No, I was thinking we would do top down for the chin, but actually we're gonna do the stripes and the arms, and then we'll do chin shadow, face. Move on. Okay. And we're gonna do this fast, because again, we're just trying to have fun. Okay, I'm gonna lay out the brown. Ugh. Some of the sounds. Usually I'm wearing music when I paint. Usually I'm listening to music when I paint. So to hear the squishing of the raw squishing sound of the tubes, not ideal, but that's how we do it. All right. So yes, making this brown. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna show you a technique that will save you a lot of time. Here we go. Ready? I'm gonna lay down this brown and cover the whole body of my figure with this brown. And then I'm gonna scrape it off. And that's called sgraffito for you art buffs out there. Same brush as before. Different look. Here we go. You be careful now too, because the direction of this is going to sort of dictate where they fall. There we go. There we go. Okay. Yes. Good. Interesting. Uh-huh. Oh, that's not good. There we go. Good. Okay. Now, I'm just going to lay this in while this is still wet. Ooh, that's too much. But why not? Again, I don't need this to end up looking good. It will, but I don't need that. I'm not attached so dearly to that. I'm just trying to enjoy this process and share with you what it's like to be in the studio. There we go. See? So you see, I'm getting these lines. Wow, this is really... What I should have done was waited until that first layer was completely dry, because you can see this is coming out kind of with the blue background in there, but I still think this will make for an interesting painting. If I have to, I'll come back to this part at the very end and put these yellow lines in. But honestly, if I can balance it with the rest of the stuff that's going to happen later, I won't have to worry about it. So we're going to leave that, admittedly, pretty abstract take on a striped suit. And we're going to go to the face. So what I'm going to do now is just add a little white to the pink mix I already made to do some highlights. And then I'll go in with some lowlights for the shadows. And then that'll be the face. Okay. So I'm looking, and I'm looking, and I'm saying, okay, I've got a forehead. Yes. Ooh. I've got a nose. I've got some cheeks over here too. What else do I have? I have big chin. Big chin, big chin. Paint's still wet. More white. There we go. And I've got this like red, all the dolls have this like red lipstick on them. So we gotta put that in. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Whoop. Wow, that's horrifying. You know, I'm doing this off the cuff. So if this is how it needs to be, this is how it needs to be. And I accept that. Okay, I'm gonna add a little more blue to my brown mix to make a black. And that will give me the hair and also the eyebrows and also these, like, all the dolls have these sort of like, not makeup, but just black line through the middle. I don't know why the fabricator made that choice, but I'm looking at this right now and I'm like, what's happening here? But the thing with painting is you can't judge it until you get to the end. So we're just gonna have some faith and keep going. We gotta keep sculpting it so that it makes sense. Right now it does not make sense, but that's kind of half the fun. Okay, so I'm just gonna do something like that. and sort of, I don't know, some Edward Scissorhands kind of hair. What kind of hair do we have on here? Is there a bun? Sure, let's put a bun in. You never want your hair to just like follow the exact skull of the head, because your hair has volume of its own, right? And it will always sit on that skull. There we go. What a hottie. Okay, ready? So there's two things here. There's the actual line, and there's some eyebrows. Eyebrows actually add a lot of emotion to the face. Make sure you pay attention to the eyebrows when you're making a piece, because they do matter. Okay, so now I've got, what kind of eyes to paint? This is a blue eyeball, and I do mean eyeball because the eyes on these dolls are just full spheres with a metal pin in them, which is such a choice. Okay, ready? Big glob. Big glob. Ooh, and now it's completely transformed the painting. And okay, I'm gonna go back to my black and then just dab a little white in it. Now all I have to do, something like that, something like that. Boom. Now the face is done. So now we can go all the way down to the bat. So let's look at this. The bat goes first and then the arms come out of it. Oh, and in fact, I'm seeing now, I've got the placement wrong. There kind of needs to be this like shape like this. Okay. And then I guess we'll make the bat this color. My, not Viridian, what is it? Venetian Red. Okay, ready? So this will be easy. We're just gonna lay this in. Let's say, it's too tall. How tall is it? It's pretty tall, but it just needs to come to here. So like this. Good. And we'll go back on that. Okay, I like that. Oh, but it needs to come down a little more too. Good, good. And now, let's pull all the paint off our brush. Go back to our original pink color. And I'm gonna use a little bit of matte medium too. And we are going to just lay in some finger shapes. Good. It didn't go far enough over here, so we're going to put this in and then make the shirt match. Now that's turning pretty muddy because we're doing this wet into wet, because I'm doing this quickly for you. So we'll have to go back and do a second coat, or lay it in really thick right now. Let's go. There you go. There you go. Better. Still might need a second coat, but that's good for now. So I'm going to pull my shirt, or should I leave it? Because I could pull the arm over, but I kind of like the way it looks right now. I might just leave that like that. Because in the moment, I really like what's happening in here. And you can see when you pull in. Yeah. Do I? One like that? I don't know. I think that would be kind of... Knowing when to stop is such a part about being an artist. But let's go for it. There we go. That's it. We'll leave that there. Okay. The next thing we need to do is block in the feet. But in order to do that, I think I want to put in some sort of earth or ground, literally ground. So let's do that. I'm going to take some just straight up Venetian red and just smear it across there and call it good. I'm not going to make this fancy. But you do need to visually see that they're standing on something. So, oh, it's satisfying. Yeah, man, painting. Hot take, painting's good. Wow. Ah, beautiful. Okay, boom. Ground. Done. Shoes. Let's throw some shoes in there. So I'm looking. I've got one shoe that's kind of, let's just do one shoe here. Okay. And then the other shoe can be doing kind of an angling thing. Sure. Yeah. I might even go over that again. Give that a bottom. Whoop. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. That's all that needs. Okay. So boom. Left figure done in record time. Now, for the fun part. We're going to put in these two figures on the left. I've got this man standing. So I think I'm going to do his head, and then we'll do all of the figure in black, and then we'll put in the rest of the rugby player. I think that's our journey. Okay. More pink. More pink. Okay. All right. I have to remember not to sing while I do this, because that's not what this channel is about, but that is sometimes what I do when I'm alone in the studio. Okay. Here we go. Where's, okay. Okay. No. Okay. Yeah. All right. Ready? Here we go. Okay. I've got, I want to make sure I don't, his head's got, okay. Just want to make sure I don't cut off anybody's heads. Whoa, dude. Painting's crazy. Ooh, okay. We're just going to leave that. Yeah, that kind of does everything we need it to do. Now, we'll go back in with this brown to do the inside of the rugby hat. So, I think like that. Oh, dear. Yeah. Good. Uh-huh. Good enough, yes. Okay, we'll leave that. And what color is the rugby? It's kind of like the Venetian Red, but it's got a little bit of that raw Sienna Yellow in it to get this like flaccid brown. Yeah, I said it. So we're gonna do, it's gonna, should we have the hat go all the way off? Yeah, you're not supposed to do that, but let's do it because I think it'd be funny if just it's so tall and off the page. So generally you don't want your objects to come really close to the edge but not actually touch. You want to like commit to going off or not. But the way I have it, it kind of needs to go like that. So it sort of goes up and then just tapers in really quick. But I actually think that would be really funny. So, and in general, my MO is do the funniest thing you can whenever possible. There we go. Let's grab that. There we go. Let's grab some from over here too. There you go. I want to make sure we have a consistent light effect. Wow. This might end up being quite a painting, I must say. So we're gonna, oh, let's do the teeth. Gosh, the teeth on this guy? His teeth are like grossly yellow, like a green yellow almost. It's crazy. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, let's say. And then again, everybody's got that red lipstick on in this doll collection for some reason. So let's just throw that on. And we'll go back later when that's dry and do a lighter yellow for the teeth highlights. But for now, we're going to go to the body of the figure in black. So we're going to put the face in first and then position everything based off the face. And luckily for us, we already have the shirt here. So it kind of tells us that his face is going to be like here. So let's do big ear here and then kind of going like this way. And he kind of goes, I think like that. Okay. I kind of want more. There we go. That's good enough. It doesn't need to look exactly the same. Okay. Now, black hair. Switch to my darker brush. Something like that. Yeah. Okay. Let's come around here. I'm just going to do this kind of back and forth movement. Kind of give some, imply that there's some hair happening here. Wow, what a very colonial, like Revolutionary era mutton chop style look. Okay, let's go back to the face and let's do some highlights to sculpt in the face. So I need my white. I'll use my regular white because this other white is about to die. Yeah. Okay, ready? We're looking, and we're looking, and we're looking. And we said, okay, here and here. And we're looking, and we're looking, and we said, okay, here. There's a little more here. I've got lots of right cheek here. This doesn't look exactly the same, but that's okay. There's always going to be a period of departure from the original source material. Look at that. Yeah, good. And there's a little something here. But don't worry, we'll make that worse. Not work, worse. Okay. So now we're going to go in eyebrows, and they're like really up here. They're like this. Really raised, surprised eyebrows there. There's a mustache, so let's block that in, and that will help us push the nose back up a little too. Let's pull that mustache over more. Good. And then there's those eyes again, those lines. That's that. Let's just do like one move here to sort of let me know that this is connected. There we go. Okay. This is going to be a good painting. I can tell. We just got to keep going. So I'm actually going to put this on the back of my brush. I find that you can get a better like point effect with that. So he's got red eyes. So I'm looking, I'm going to pull in here and just sort of spin that. Yeah. I might grab some of this one actually. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, ooh, yeah. Good. And then just gonna throw these on. Oh, that's too bright. Let's chill that out. Ooh, okay. What a crazed look. We might dial that back down later. But let's now do the... I have one more brush. I would like one more brush. Let's do that like lipstick stuff we've been talking about. Okay, ready? It's gotta be a big, I'm just gonna use the edge of my brush. That's it. Wow, look at that. It's almost clown-like. And then I'll throw in, let's fill that in. Oh man. This is starting to really transform as a painting, which is exciting. Okay, I actually think let's go back up to a big brush and let's just do this body pretty loose. I'm not super interested in using a small brush to really chart out a refined figure. Okay, pulling the paint off my brush. I'm getting dark. Okay, ready? Let's do this quickly. It has to be big enough now that it's covering here. So let's really push in here. And then leave that there. But then let's pull that around and down. Kind of make, yeah, like that. Good. Very good. So now we've pushed back that figure. Now he's over the shoulder. And then I kind of like that. It gives it some motion. So now let's come in. And I might just have this be dark blue pants without even bothering to turn it back to black, because that will actually separate it from the shirt, which would be nice. So then, so if I'm going to do that, then I want to come over then and just do the rest of the shirt while I have the paint. So let's push in here. Remember how important your pressure is and what it can do for you. Pay attention to how your brush is moving and flow with it. Don't try to fight it. Let's just throw that in there. So you push in, and then as you're moving and turning, you're pulling. Excellent. Okay, now some bright blue pants. How big should we make the feet? I want one of them, honestly, just to kind of like come up. Okay, so that's mostly defined. We'll have the other foot, I think, more, yeah, sturdily hit that ground. Okay, we'll even have it go off the ground. But this one, I think, let's just have the foot go like that. Oh, see, I'm not even taking my own advice. Look how, so close. It's fine. Good. Okay, the last thing I want to do before I return to the figure in the back is let's put some cufflinks on this shirt. And by cufflinks, I mean you can see in our reference that we've got those, like the shirt coming out of this little number. There we go. Yeah. Okay, and now, actually, let's make that. There you go. Good. Let's go throw some pink back on there. And these guys, you know, they don't really have hands, so we can give them hands or just nubs. I'm going to give them loose hands, kind of like armature hands, automaton hands. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, look how that blended. Okay. We're almost done. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to return to our figure on the right. We're going to finish the face, put the arms in here, and just imply him in the background. Okay? Okay. So let's block in this face. Yes. Okay. So I'm looking. I just need to do a lighter pink than the one I have. Ooh, this will be exciting. Let's do the forehead first. It's pretty flat. I'll leave some room at the very top to imply a shadow from the hat. I think that's important. We're going to go in a little bit where the brow furrows. Good. Yeah, you can see we're kind of sculpting at this point. So let's do the big nose. And it is a big nose. Good. And then just with my brush, some pressure, just laying it a little more there. Yeah, and then very edge of my brush, something like that. Oh dear. Oh. Okay. Okay, don't overwork it. It's usually the sage wisdom. Okay, so now I need to put in the eyes for this guy, because he does have them. Although, it's pretty ominous without the eyes. Do we want ominous? No, I want all of them to be fully fledged out characters and not just simulacra. They should all have their own personality. So I'm looking, and I'm thinking, I have to go. I probably need a smaller brush, but who cares? Just like that. Ooh. Good. And now in there, oh, I've got this. Good. See, the eyebrows add so much emotion so quickly. So let's grab some of this and just some of that. And then let's put some eyes in. Let's have you staring right at us. Ooh. Okay, good. And as promised, we're going to go back in now on the teeth. And we're going to just add some highlights there. I think that will really complete that section. And let's just use this brighter yellow instead of a tinted cadmium yellow. We're going to use our lemon yellow. Out of the tube. Out of the tube? Are you sure? Let's do it. Just a little. Ready? Just a little bit there. A little more here. Yeah. That's it. That's all you need. Any more than that is too much. So, his arms. Now he's got a very red shirt. Do I have any red on my piece yet? No. He's got a deep red though, so we're gonna have to dip into our Alizarin Crimson. Okay. So, arms and legs, and then we're gonna call it a day. Looks like he gets him right here. That's where the hand's gonna come out. So I want to give some, there we go, some torso to this guy. But then I'll do that in terms of his arm. Ooh. There. Yes, look at that. What a great paint moment. Excellent. So, and now, okay. Now we just need to put in this, the hands and feet. I think just the raw Sienna Yellow out of the tube for the pants is fine. Let's just put that in real quick. Maybe I'll blend it just a little with some of this brown. I'll like slash it with the brown. Good. So build in some definition. So see that? I need to now just decide. We just got to put it somewhere. So here's the second leg of the rugby player. Let's grab a little more raw sienna. Okay. Yes. Oh, let's leave it. Okay. Hands, and then we're done. All right. Here we go. Hands. Oh, do they need to be a different color? Yeah, let's just make them really pale and weird. Not that being pale is weird, but I just want to make them markedly different than this hand here. So there we go. There's one. And there's another. Ugh. Shoes, actually. I know I said that was the last thing, but we actually need shoes. Shoes for the rugby player. So, although let's mix it with the Alizarin Crimson, so it's a different black than the other black. Ready? Just gonna say like that. Wow. And just like that, we did it. Look at this perfect painting. Oh. So that's all for this week. Please, please, please send me a picture of your paintings if you choose to attempt this composition. You can send them to, once again, coopersalmonart@gmail.com. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this. I certainly did. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.